Hey, I want to thank you for joining me here today. I'm Tim Menard. I'm the Development Officer at Cunningham Children's Home. And I think we've got a kind of an interesting program today for you to start thinking about something really important. This is Write Your Will Week. Who knew? Who knew that such a week existed? But it is a great opportunity to start thinking about your legacy and how you're going to take care of your family, how you're going to take care of your assets and everything. So, it's important to, when we think about Cunningham, to think about the fact that Cunningham exists because of an original gift. It was an estate gift by Judge Joseph and Mary Cunningham. They wanted to do something really important for the kids in the community. And so they had this big estate out in the country. It had this beautiful big house with this driveway that was lined with cedar trees and just a beautiful place, but they didn't need it anymore. And so they thought about what they wanted to do to help kids. And so they deeded that property to the United Methodist Women to become an orphanage. Now think about that. That was 125 years ago. Think about what you would like your legacy to be. Think about your hopes and your dreams still being fulfilled 125 years after you're gone. What a great, great way to take care of the people that you love, and the kids in the community. Just hats off to Judge Joe and Mary for thinking of that 125 years ago. So we want to talk a little bit today about your legacy and what you might be able to do, and we want to help you do that. I've asked 3 people to join us today. They're all advocates of Cunningham Children's Home, and they all bring something different to the table, and you're going to hear from them in a few minutes. One of them is Marge Stout. Marge is a longtime volunteer and advocate of Cunningham Children's Home, and she's going to share a little bit about her experiences with writing a will. Joe Schroeder is going to join us as well. Joe is an attorney in Marshall, but also he and his wife are longtime supporters of Cunningham and feel strongly about what we do. And he'll share a little bit of kind of the technical side of writing a will. And then Jack Wallace is another supporter of ours who has been around not for all that long, just a few years, but just really is passionate about what we do for kids at Cunningham, and wanted to make sure that his passion for that work continued long after he was gone. So we're excited to have all 3 of them share a little bit with you today, and I think you'll enjoy it and get a lot out of it. And then at the end, I'm going to talk a little bit about something kind of exciting, something new that you'll want to stick around and hear about, because I think it'll really interest you. Hey, now I'm delighted to have with me today Marge Stout. Marge is a longtime supporter of Cunningham Children's Home, been board chair, been active with our Festival of Quilts and leadership team on that, and just a whole lot of things to help our kids at Cunningham. And Marge, as you know, this is Write a Will Week, and you've already done that. And I just wanted to talk to you a little bit today about why you did that and what you were thinking when you thought about Cunningham in that process. So tell me a little bit about why you felt it was important to get your will written.
Well, I went to check this morning because Jerry and I had written a will some time ago, and I thought, how long ago did we do that? And so mine was dated in 1981. So we had wills from then on. And I'm not sure why we started with them then. But, he passed away 10 years ago. So last summer, a year ago, I thought it's time for me to update my will. Things are a little different than they were when we did one together. And my position is better. So I did that. And of course, my love for Cunningham and what goes on here and the staff and all made me want to remember them in my will. And that's what I did. It's not a huge amount. but and hopefully when the time comes and there's still money left, that my family can do that. But that was basically why. I just appreciate everything that's done here. And I often give my memorial monies to Cunningham because I want it to go for somebody that's helping kids, and rather than some object that we do in the churches when we have memorial money. And that's important too, don't get me wrong there. And I have supported that over the years too.
You said something that I think is really important. So I'm going to ask you about that. You said you talked to your family. So you talked to your family about wanting to include Cunningham as part of your legacy. And tell me just a little bit about how that conversation went.
Well, actually, I did the will, and then I showed it to my two kids, and that this is kind of what I want to do. So really didn't have a conversation before, but they both know, and all of my grandkids all know how much I care for Cunningham. And in fact, over the years, I've said, instead of a birthday gift or a Christmas gift, please send a donation to Cunningham. And so that's not unusual. I think, and I guess I can say this too, that I really didn't leave something to my church. And my son questioned that, and he said, Mom, and I said, well, as things stand now, who knows if our church will still be in place. You know, I might die tomorrow when it is, but I might not die for 15 years, and who knows? And there will be a place for the church in my giving too. But Cunningham was what I wanted to do, and they didn't question beyond that.
I just think it's really important that people do, before the will is written or after it, have that conversation so that family understands why that's important to you. So I think you've done exactly the right thing there. You've been involved in so many ways at Cunningham, including on the board as board chair. And so you've probably seen some other gifts come in through requests and wills. How did that impact, first of all, how do you think that impacted Cunningham? But also, how did that impact your decision to consider Cunningham as part of your estate?
Because being able to see the financial end of things by being on the board, I realized how much the farms that had been given over the years, how much that income had impacted and was needed. And then there were, people that were leaving amounts in their wills. And so at the time that I'm writing mine, and over the years, I thought, I should do that. No matter if it's a small amount of just a few dollars or 1,000 or two, it would be a gift for me and for my family. And so that's basically why I did it, because of having seen the impact of those gifts over the years.
I just really want to thank you for, first of all, everything you do for our kids at Cunningham, but also for leaving that legacy, planning ahead, and making sure that love you have for our kids continues basically forever. So thanks for being here with us today and for joining us and everything you do for Cunningham.
It's my pleasure.
I just had a great conversation with Marge Stout, and we appreciate what she shared with us about her decision to make a will and include Cunningham. And now I want to bring in Joe Schroeder. Joe is an attorney from Marshall, but he and his wife Alice have been longtime supporters of Cunningham Children's Home and have a great passion for what we do. And so, Joe, I appreciate your being with us today. And I would like to start with you. Just if you can just share with us why it is important for someone to have a will.
Sure, Tim. Thank you for inviting me to do this. I'm glad to be here to share this with you. There are several reasons to write a will. First is to be able to leave your property, your assets, to the people you want to. Now, in line with that also is you may want to make decisions of who you don't want to leave your property to. You also get to choose who will administer your estate, who will carry out your desires, which is the executor. You also get to decide, if you're young, who might care for your children in the event that something happens. You also get to decide to carry on the giving aspect of your life, your legacy, which is you can continue to give to your church. You can continue to give to your alma mater. You can continue to give to the charity of your choice, which could be Cunningham Children's Home. But you get to make these decisions. And as I often tell people, it's your will. It would be the Joe Schroeder will, the Tim Menard will. So you get to control these things, because if you don't, then at some point in time, if you don't have a will, the state of Illinois or whatever state jurisdiction you're in will make that decision for you. So that's why it's important to have a will to carry out what you want done with your assets.
Appreciate your sharing just what that the importance of having a will. And so I think one of the things that people are a little hesitant, sometimes they all know they should have a will, but they're a little reluctant because they don't know what's going to happen. So just kind of walk through, when someone sits down with you for the first time, what happens in the process of developing a will.
Sure. Well, first of all, you want to get comfortable with the attorney you've chosen. And maybe you already know a lawyer, maybe you have a family lawyer, maybe you have a good friend who's a lawyer, but you want to get comfortable with that person, and that person, that lawyer, is familiar and has experience and expertise in this area. But you also want to bring, and before you have that first meeting, you may have contacted the lawyer, and he or she may have sent you some forms to fill out. Because first of all, you need to know who your heirs are. Now you think, well, everyone knows who their heirs are, but maybe, you might have estranged children, you might not have any children, and so who are all your nieces and nephews and cousins? So you need to know who your heirs are. You need to know what property you own. And if you have inherited property, you may not know exactly what you have. Hopefully you do. Is there a possibility of inheriting additional property, that may come in? And you need to be prepared with, if you do have minor children, who are those people that are going to care for your children? Who are the people that are going to administer a children's trust? Who do you want as executor? I find out that a lot of times people are conflicted as to who they want to be executor. Maybe they have children. Maybe the children are not close to them. Maybe they feel they don't have the expertise to be executor. Maybe they have to ask other families or friends. You just need to have that information. Addresses, full names and addresses are important for that first meeting.
That's great, Joe. Thank you. I'm going to throw one more question at you. And what do they need to know? What does someone need to know about the charitable organizations that they might be interested in leaving a bequest to? What information do they need to have to share with the attorney?
I think they need, first, is to get the correct name of the entity. I have found that people don't always know what the full correct legal name. They want to leave something to Cunningham. They want to leave something to Shriners. They want to leave something to the Red Cross. But you need to do a little investigation, and the lawyer may do that for you. What is the correct name and address of the entity? Is it a national entity? Is it a state entity? What is the address? They may have a particular language that they would like in the will. So you need to, that takes a little work just to make sure you get it right. But, you know, the person hopefully has a relationship with that, if it's Cunningham or a church or their alma mater or the local food bank. They've got a relationship, because you want to leave property or money to an organization that you think will carry out the terms as you want it to be. You want a legacy. You want to further the good work that they do. And you may want to find out, do they have different levels of giving? Do they have different areas? You know, you want to give to the general fund, or do you want to give to the educational fund? You want to give to the building fund? And so a little investigation, maybe even visiting, talking to someone such as Tim Menard would be helpful to learn that. So I think it's always good to check those things out.
Yeah, that's great advice, Joe, and certainly I know in other organizations, but certainly in Cunningham, I'm willing to sit down and talk to anybody who needs that kind of information or wants to just share some thoughts with me. So, well,
Sure.
Joe, we really appreciate your spending some time with us today, and the information you shared, and certainly your support for Cunningham as an individual, and you and Alice. So thank you very much for being part of this today.
You're welcome, and I'm glad to do it. And Cunningham is a tremendous organization that does tremendous work.
Hey, now we've got joining us Jack Wallace. Jack is a supporter of Cunningham. Not all that long, just a few years ago, he kind of learned about Cunningham, and in the process, he was also thinking about what he wanted his legacy to be after he was gone. And so I've asked Jack to join us to talk a little bit about that process. So, Jack, I want you to share with us. I mean, it's kind of daunting to make that decision to create a will. Sometimes people are really hesitant about it. Sometimes they just don't want to think about it. So you've done that process. Tell us a little bit about why you included charitable giving in your will, but also how you felt once the process was done.
Well, my situation is somewhat unique, is that I don't have any heirs. And so I had to make the decision about what to do with the assets that I've accumulated, my home, other things. That was something that I think after a certain age, it's important for one to start thinking about, because we're all working with a timeline, so to speak. And I didn't want any burden to fall upon my executors. So I became much more familiar with, charitable organizations within our community, including Cunningham. And Cunningham really stood out as an organization that's not only caring, but is so well run. And I was really looking for an organization that I thought a legacy would be respected and nurtured. And I really feel that Cunningham is an organization that's going to do that, for whatever it ends up that, the eventuality, let's say. So once I made the decision, you really just buckled down and was disciplined, worked with my attorney, worked with, different friends who had been through the process already. I made the decision that Cunningham was going to be one of just a really small number of organizations I intended to support, on an ongoing basis. So I think that the best word is for how I felt afterwards was relief. It was just this, it wasn't, I can't say it was really looming, but I knew that I had to make that decision, and that having just been through the executor process with a close family member, I knew what an executor goes through, and the more streamlined and elegant the plan was, would just make it easier when the time came to disperse my assets. But relief was really, I think, the major feeling, and gratitude for everything that the people at Cunningham do for those children who are really most in need. And really to honor people in my life who were educators or caregivers to children who were in need. And that's just so important. And so, sadly, sometimes overlooked throughout the world. So I think that's sums it up.
Well, that's terrific, Jack. That really means a lot to us at Cunningham that you feel that way, and that we our kids will be taken care of for a long, long time because of the legacy that you want to send. And so thank you very much for sharing that with us, and sharing your love and passion for the kids at Cunningham. We just really appreciate your doing that with us today.
Well, you are so welcome, and thank you to everyone at Cunningham for what you do. Having friends who have worked in the realm of special education, I know how hard that is. I've seen their lives evolve and develop around the career, and it's not easy. It's not easy, but I know for them it's very gratifying, and I want to support those people who are on that path in life.
I want to thank Marge and Joe and Jack again for sharing the information and their passions with us today. Just really great stuff, and just really, I think, hopefully got you thinking a little bit about what you want your legacy to be. And so, I told you at the beginning we were going to announce something kind of fun and exciting, and so here it is. We're creating a brand new society for people who have made a planned gift, a legacy gift, to Cunningham Children's Home. It's going to be called the Cedar Society. Remember that row of cedar trees I talked about earlier in the program? That just represents the growth of what a legacy gift can do for kids and Cunningham Children's Home. So the Cedar Society is now going to be our group of people who have indicated to us that they have made some kind of legacy gift. And that doesn't necessarily just have to be in your will. It can be a life insurance policy. It can be make Cunningham a beneficiary in some kind of IRA or a retirement fund, any of those kind of things. But there are lots of different ways that you can make a difference and leave a legacy. Happy to help you do that. We have some materials that I'd be happy to share with you, but either send them to you or come by and just kind of talk to you a little bit, kind of talk you through, because as has been discussed, making a will and making an estate gift it's a little scary and a little not sure exactly what to do. And so I'd be happy to talk with you a little bit about that to you personally or to a group. So if you're interested in or thinking about or considering some kind of legacy gift, let's talk. Certainly you should talk to your family. You should talk to your financial planner or attorney. All of those are kind of steps to making a gift. And then we'd love you to be part of the Cedar Society, the new group. That group will get together once a year for some kind of special activity, and we will certainly give you a little gift to acknowledge it and list your name in different places so people know that you've left a legacy gift to Cunningham Children's Home. So you may already qualify to be in the Cedar Society. If you've given us a bequest intention form telling us that you've made some kind of gift, then you're already in, and we know that. if you have made some kind of provision and you haven't filled out that kind of form, let me know and we'll get that taken care of so we can get you into the new Cedar Society. I'm excited about being able to get together with all of you and just kind of share what the future looks like for Cunningham Children's Home, because you've made a legacy gift. So thank you for spending time with us today. Thank you for all that you do for Cunningham. And I look forward to talking to you in the future.